When loved ones die, we all long to have just one more conversation. A salon employee sees her friend. A long farewell. A grandson connecting with his grandfather. Generational specter. A fiancé gets a final chance to say I love you. A child missing her playmate. All of these got to say a last goodbye. The ghost of Michael. This is the story of Nina DeSanto. Nina worked in a New Jersey hair salon. It was a typical salon with a front desk, waiting area, shelves for hair products, and multiple chairs with sinks. The smell of shampoo and conditioner filled the air. Nina especially meeting the people who came across her path during the course of the day. On a cold night in 2001, Nina was sweeping the floor as she prepared to close. As she looked up, she saw one of her customers standing outside the salon's window. It was her friend, Michael, who frequented the business. She and Michael had become great friends over years of his visits. They shared a lot, and she knew Michael was going through some tough times. He lost custody of his children when his wife left him for his stepbrother. Whenever he came in, she would try to cheer him up. She even took him for drinks after work in an attempt to let him talk about his situation and feelings. She opened the door to let him in. Michael seemed like a new person. He was happy and smiled at her. He said he couldn't stay too long, but wanted to stop by to tell her thanks for all she had done. After talking for a while, he said goodbye. In the early hours of the next morning, Nina received a phone call from another of the salon's employees. She told her that Michael's body was found the previous morning. This was almost 9 hours before Nina spoke with him. Michael had committed suicide. Her friend was gone. But what about the strange visitation? Was this a case of what is called a crisis apparition? One in which the departing spirit comes to loved ones and friends to say goodbye? Or was this a hallucination? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Long-distance goodbye. Annie Cap worked in Canterbury in England as a surround. Annie knew she needed to get to Oregon as quickly as possible. She was upset that she couldn't be by her mother's side to offer comfort during the critical time. Once her episode ended, she called her sister, Claire. Claire was in Oregon at their mother's bedside. She told Annie that their mother didn't have much time left. As the family gathered around Betty's bed, Claire held the phone to her ear. Annie heard her mother gasping for breath in the same way she had just a few minutes before. Annie told her she loved her and said goodbye. Betty took her last breath and passed away. Annie was grateful that she got to say goodbye. But on January 2, 2004, something miraculous would happen. Annie had the overwhelming feeling that her mother was there and said goodbye. While not a visitation or phone call, Annie experienced the very real feeling that her mother was with her. Close bond. Raymond Harris's first grandchild was Josh Harris. One night Josh, who was 12 at the time, visited his grandfather's house to stay with him as the man weakened and continued his decline. The end was coming and he wanted to spend his grandfather's last moments with him. But Josh's family told him to return the 2 miles home. Once home, Josh fell asleep on the couch. At 2 a.m. he shot up wide awake. There he saw his grandfather standing over him. Josh was surprised at the sudden appearance. When he had left his grandfather's house, his grandfather was too weak to get out of bed, let alone make the 2-mile trek to Josh's home. Then his grandfather spoke to him. The man smiled and said everything will be okay. His grandfather then turned and walked toward the kitchen. Josh noticed him outlined in a whitish glow. Josh got up to follow, but was interrupted by the telephone. His aunt, in another room, took the call. He heard his aunt crying as she walked over to him and said, "Josh, your papa is gone." Josh was dumbfounded. He replied, "No, he was just here." He told his aunt that his grandfather was just there standing over him and that he said everything was okay. But his papa was gone. The close bond in life was also a close bond in death. A loving grandfather coming back to his grandson and saying goodbye. The wispy goodbye. Maria Morris lived in Southbourne in England. But the story doesn't end there. In 2008, Maria's father died from prostate cancer. He was in a hospice 3 miles from his house. He was only 66 years old. Just a few days before his passing, on a Wednesday, Maria was at her dad's house cleaning the kitchen with her sister, Ronnie. Maria was at the sink when she looked out the window. There she saw a wispy white mist floating past the window. The thought it might just be a translucent curtain, but the mist began to take shape. It morphed into that of a person and floated just outside the window, just inches away. Then it flew off. She asked her sister if she had seen the apparition. Ronnie said that she did and that she knew what it was. Maria responded that she did also. Maria opened the back door to see if the mist was still there, but it wasn't. They both believed that their father was visiting to say goodbye one last time. But the story still isn't over. On the following Friday, her father died in the hospice. On that morning, Maria awoke at 5:39 a.m. with a pain that felt like a dagger in her heart, but the pain didn't last long. She sat up in bed and thought that she was having a heart attack. But she knew that her father had passed away. Just a few minutes later, her cell phone rang. She was told that her father had passed away at 5:30 a.m., the same time she experienced her chest pain. Goodbye, my love. It was the late 1960s. Simmer was at her mother's house in the Bronx late one night when the phone rang. She answered and heard her now fiancé on the other end. The phone line was filled with static, making it difficult to understand him. But Johnny didn't sound like himself. He sounded as if he was far away and rushed. Barely able to hear him, she could make out the words, "I love you and I'll never be mean to anybody again." Then the line went dead. She tried to call him back, but he didn't pick up. Despite the strange call, she went to bed and fell asleep only to wake up with an ominous feeling. She knew something was wrong. When she awoke, she still had the unsettling feeling. She knew that something had happened to Johnny. She no longer felt his presence. Later that morning, Johnny's mother called and told that Johnny had been murdered the night before. Johnny was sitting in his car that night and was shot in the head. The murder happened before Simmer received that strange call. Come out to play. Danny was one of Donna Stewart's best friends. They both lived. The next day, Donna was playing in her bedroom when she looked up to see Danny standing right before her. He asked if she wanted to go out and play. Donna ran to her mother to see if it was okay. Her mother went white and stood motionless. Her mother told her that she couldn't, that it wasn't possible. She then told Donna that Danny had a reaction to the anesthesia during his surgery and had passed away. Donna returned to her room in disbelief, but Danny was gone. The spirit of the young boy had just wanted to play one last time. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of new videos. And if you're interested in more content like this, here are a few videos just for you.